Welcome back to Sky Sports News. Let's get more now on the news that Paul Pogba has had his ban for doping reduced, which means he could be back for Juventus early next year.
Now, our chief reporter, Kaveh Solhekol, as you can see, has joined us. What has Paul Pogba had to say about this? Bit of an enigmatic picture of his boots on Instagram. What's he been saying?
Yeah, look, he is absolutely delighted, of course, as you would be, because if he'd got this 4-year ban, it probably would have meant the end of his playing career, because he's 31 at the moment. So he's delighted. He's desperate to get back playing. He's determined to make up for lost time. The past 14 months for him, since he failed this random drugs test, has been a total nightmare. I've been told that today he's been getting lots of messages from players, managers. Of course, he's a very popular figure in world football. So it has been a great day for him. But in a way, it's good news and bad news for him, because I think the way he looks at it is he wants to start playing straight away. So he still has to wait until January to train and March to be able to play. So the bad news is that he still has to wait. But obviously the good news is that he can get back playing again, training again in January, playing in March. And he's also been keeping very fit. Throughout this whole 14 months, he's had his own personal training regime. He's been keeping fit at home and at gyms and wherever he's been. So mixed emotions, but the overriding one is he's absolutely delighted that this ban has been reduced from 4 years to 18 months.
Yeah, big reduction, some 2.5 years. How did he get it reduced, Kaveh?
Well, look, I think the story starts 14 months ago when he was an unused substitute for a Juventus game at Udinese. Juventus won that game 3-0. He was picked at random for a drugs test. He failed that drugs test. Now, he's held up his hand and said that DHEA, which is on WADA's banned list, appeared in his sample because he'd taken a nutritional supplement. Now, I think at this CAS hearing, Court of Arbitration for Sport, where he appealed against the 4-year ban in August, his lawyers argued that DHEA does boost testosterone levels, but not artificially, it does it naturally. And also, significantly, they argued that it only boosts testosterone levels in females, not males. Now, I haven't seen the full judgment. We're not going to get that from CAS until Monday, but I think that may have been one of his arguments. And also, his €5,000 fine has been set aside. I think CAS were hoping that this news wouldn't come out until Monday, but obviously it's leaked out today. And it was actually first reported by Sami Mokbel in the Daily Mail.
OK, let's move on to this European court ruling, the case involving Lanre Diarra, the former Chelsea and Arsenal player. It's quite complicated, so over to you.
No, I feel like I can.
What happened?
I think I can explain it really simply. Basically, 10 years ago, Lanre Diarra, he'd signed for Lokomotiv Moscow. Started off really well. He was having a great time in Russia. Pretty soon, everything started going wrong. He fell out with Lokomotiv Moscow. So much so that he left the club, even though he had, I think, 3 years left on his contract. Now, Lokomotiv Moscow sued him because they said that he had terminated his contract without just cause. And they actually won, and they won their case at CAS as well, and they forced him to pay them €10 million, which is about £8 million. Now, in the meantime, he wanted to sign for a Belgian club called Charleroi. But the only problem is that FIFA's rules said that if he was to sign for a new club, that new club would be jointly responsible for paying the compensation to his previous club. And obviously Charleroi didn't want to have to pay half of £8 million to Lokomotiv Moscow. So they basically said, Lanre, thanks but no thanks, we can't proceed with this deal. And also FIFA wouldn't release his international transfer certificate, which is something you need in an international transfer. So he was stuck in limbo, and ever since then, basically, he's played sporadically before retiring, but he's been pursuing this legal case, and his lawyer, I think some people remember his lawyer was the same lawyer that Jean-Marc Bosman used in 1995. Jean-Louis Dupont, who won this case in 1995, which established the rights of players whose contracts had run out to move as free agents. People won't believe this, but before 1995, even if your contract had run out, your club could still demand a transfer fee for you. So it's thanks to this lawyer and thanks to Jean-Marc Bosman back in 1995 that players like Kylian Mbappe can move free from PSG to Real Madrid. Obviously, what people are talking about in football today is how significant is the ruling today? Could it have the same kind of repercussions that the Bosman ruling had in 1995?
And will it?
Well, it depends who you speak to. I think most people you speak to in football, especially people connected to FIFA and the big clubs in Europe, are saying, look, let's not get carried away. This is not the end of the transfer window. We're not going to move to a kind of NFL system where players have a lot more power and we don't have transfer fees. What they're saying is that this judgment just says that these two FIFA rules need to be amended. One, that a new club buying a player is jointly responsible for paying compensation if he terminated his contract without just cause at his previous club and he'd been sued, and also about FIFA having to release these international transfer certificates. So I think at the very least, FIFA is going to have to amend those two rules. But who knows, in the future, I think maybe you could have a situation where players are unhappy with clubs and create problems at a club to get away and terminate their contracts and use this example as a way of being able to move clubs. I think what it is, you know, it's very strange, the transfer window, because you're buying and selling human beings. In what other walk of life can you buy and sell human beings? Obviously, it's strange, it's an anomaly, but it happens in football and FIFA has to govern it and has to have rules for it. But obviously, EU rules are much more about labour laws, free movement of people, being able to work in different places. You know, the fact is that if I wanted to leave Sky, all I have to do is give my notice and I can go. They can't demand a transfer fee for me. If anyone was crazy enough to want to pay to buy my services.
No comment.
But, you know, it is strange that this happens in football, and there is a bit of friction between EU rules and FIFA's rules. Will it be the end of transfers as we know it? I don't think so, but I think there will be some changes.
And FIFA have accepted this, have they?
I think FIFA have they accepted it? I think they're taking it on the chin. Obviously, they would have preferred to win, but I think they are trying to downplay it and say, look, just these two rules, not the whole of the transfer system, that doesn't need to be changed. All that needs to be changed is these two new rules, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to work on it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kaveh.